The sickest, freshest, dopest entertainment.
Fresh.
Your one-stop shop for what's hot in the arts and entertainment on television in Malawi.
Fresh. Entertainment Lockdown.
Bless up massive, this is Peter Morgan from Morgan Heritage, and right now you're watching Fresh right here on Zodiak.
My name is David Kalinani and you
This is Chancellor Mlozabanda with the news on Zodiac. Top stories this hour. Irish ambassador urges Malawians to be on high alert to combat COVID-19 in second wave. Meanwhile, Blantyre City Council says most of its development activities are stuck due to COVID-19. Religious leaders asked to diversify income sources through entrepreneurship for economic independence. And in sports, government took off over 7.8 billion kwacha to construct indoor netball complex in Lilongwe. And I'll give you the news in detail. Irish ambassador to Malawi, McLean Diamond, said the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic is spreading at alarming levels, urging citizens to be on high alert to combat its effects. McLean was speaking Wednesday in Cheo, where the Irish aid is supporting over 14,000 households in the social cash transfer program. Minister of Gender Patricia Kaliati expressed government's commitment in ensuring vulnerable Malawians are well supported in this period of COVID-19 and beyond. We have a report by Blessings Kangombe.
Irish ambassador to Malawi, McLean Diamond, said the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic is alarming, urging citizens to be on high alert to combat effects of the disease. Speaking when supporting over 14,000 households in social cash transfer, Diamond pledged his government's support on such social protection programs to build resilience to Malawi. Minister of Gender and Social Welfare, Patricia Kaliati, commended the Irish government for such support, saying plans are already underway to increase government's amount on social cash transfer programs in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Inkosiyama Kos Gomani 5 has since requested government to increase the number of beneficiaries, saying the current number is minimal. Apart from Cheu, Irish Aid is also supporting social cash transfer programs in the neighboring Balaga district.
Meanwhile, various stakeholders have faulted government for what they say is its continued lack of consultation when introducing COVID-19 restrictions. It follows the announcement by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 that with immediate effect, the country's borders have been closed and gatherings restricted to 100 people. Both PAC spokesperson Bishop Guilford Matonga and HRDC chairperson Gift Trappens, while agreeing that the coronavirus has hit hard, argue that consultation was key. Linda Masinga reports.
The decision to reinforce COVID-19 measures, as announced by Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 Tuesday, has sparked national debate, with stakeholders accusing government of lack of consultation on the matter. The stakeholders include Public Affairs Committee, PAC, HRDC, and the Black Rhino Entertainment. PAC spokesperson Bishop Guilford Matonga has told us the decision will inconvenience many who already made plans over this festive season. Chairperson of the Human Rights Defenders Coalition, HRDC, Gift Trappens, said government would have done better in preparing Malawians accordingly. Since this festive season, entertainment takes center stage, artists have cried foul over the decision, especially on the 100 rule on all gatherings. Ty Green of Black Rhino Entertainment says this will largely affect their planning as well as finances. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 announced new measures which include closure of land border posts as well as effecting a restriction of a maximum of 100 people per gathering as preventive measures amid a new wave of COVID-19. This is Linda Masinga reporting.
Neno district has registered second death of typhoid fever, while total number of confirmed cases stands at 23. According to Neno District Hospital Public Relations Officer Carol Banda, the outbreak has reached areas of 2 senior chiefs of Dambe and Simon. She said there are sanitation challenges due to unavailability of safe water sources, which are contributing to the spread of the disease. Blantyre City Mayor Councillor Wild Ndipo has described the year 2020 as a tough one in as far as implementation of development projects was concerned. Speaking after switching on lights in the city to mark the beginning of the festive season, Ndipo said COVID-19 pandemic affected a number of project activities by the council in the year ending. He also advised residents of the city to celebrate the festive season responsibly. Ndipo explains.
We are now coming to an end of this other year, which had a lot of challenges, one of it being COVID-19, which had also actually hampered some of the developments that we have been doing in Blantyre City. But suffice to say, despite all that, here we are today, though mourning in one way or the other for the lost souls that we've lost some of our brothers and sisters. But now it's a matter of reflecting also and shaping the near future, which year is coming. We are quite optimistic that this coming year will be a good year, and having learned from the previous, we know we'll have a good year. But also, I was reminding the residents of Blantyre that as the celebrations are here, most of the time, this is the time that we face a lot of accidents, a lot of things that are robberies and the like. This is because some of us leave the homes unattended. Some of us drink and drive during this period. Some of us cause problems to other motorists. So we are saying, can we be calm and make sure that we observe this Christmas period with caution? And also, as we are celebrating, moving here and there, eating, drinking and the like, we should know that somewhere there, somebody doesn't have even food. So as we are throwing out food, rice or whatever name, we should also think of sharing to those less privileged. That's the main message that we should do. I'm also saying the main message is that we should love one another. Let's love our neighbors. Let's look at those less privileged and assist them during the festive as we are observing Christmas.
Meanwhile, Consumers Association of Malawi (KAMA) has cautioned Malawians against irresponsible spending this festive season by making realistic budgets. KAMA Executive Director John Capito predicts that this year's Christmas and New Year festive season will be the worst due to economic challenges consumers are experiencing as a result of COVID-19 effects. Capito speaks with Wilson Henry.
In regard with the current economic situation that we have in the country, and that now we have the Christmas and the New Year festivities. And the issue that we are advising consumers is about the need to be careful, plan what they want to do during this period, but also make sure that I think before we go shopping, we are able to do some budgets to avoid the unnecessary spending, considering that I think right now money is so tight. And the fact that money is tight, it requires everybody to be a little bit more careful on how we spend that little money that we have. So we are simply advising consumers that during this difficult time and with these festivities, let us be careful on what we buy. And we are saying impulse buying, like being pushed or forced, or rather being influenced by adverts and promotions, should be something that we shouldn't do, because we'll just lose money for nothing. And we are also advising consumers that when they go to shops, they should do some window shopping before they buy, compare prices.
Government has changed the country's financial year as a measure of easing its ability to fund public institutions that are involved in agriculture, which is the backbone of the country's economy. Secretary for Economic Development Dr. Winfred Masanjala said in a statement that the change, which will be effective from the 2021-2022 fiscal year, moves to 1st April to 31st March from 1st July to 30 June. But while commenting the development, economic expert Dr. Bechani Chereni has advised the current administration to ensure that there is proper implementation, because failure to do so shall have negative impacts on the economy.
The decision by government to change its fiscal year aims at aligning national development plans with the agriculture calendar. According to a statement signed by Secretary for Economic Planning and Development and Public Sector Reforms, Dr. Winfred Masanjala, This will smoothen government's ability to finance public institutions that play crucial roles in the agriculture sector. The statement further pointed out that the current fiscal year makes it hard for institutions to provide resources timely, as the country's economy depends on agriculture. But while commending the development, economic expert from the Polytechnic, Dr. Bechani Chereni, has advised government to put in place measures for a smooth implementation.
When we have started it, we should be consistent with it. We should not be in a process where we are going to change again and change again and change again. The rationale for this change, for example, it is something that I think I applaud, and therefore let's look at it from the economic point of view. We should not look at it from another point of view. I don't think there's anything to do with politics in this one. There's more to do with how we plan for the economy to grow and develop better.
Government says the 2021-2022 fiscal year shall be shortened to 9 months to let the subsequent years commence on 1st April from 2022.
You're watching the news on Zodiac. We have got more shortly.
ShopRite is your home for low prices this festive season. We buy more so you spend less, which means there's no better place to shop for festive deals. Like 5 kg of Kilombero rice for only 5,699 kwacha, 99 tambala, and 10 kg Malawi cream of maize for only 3,299 kwacha, 99 tambala. Take home more this festive season. Lower prices you can trust, always.
Precious things have a secret formula. While John is busy trying to impress, James discovered Tangu's secret. Tangu uses Purity sanitary products from Purity body wash, Purity hands wash, Purity body lotion to Purity dishwash. After a week of using Purity sanitary products, James won the heart of Tangu. Use Purity sanitary products.
Cloden is a banned pesticide in Malawi. The Pesticides Control Board is reminding the general public that Cloden is a banned pesticide, and the ban was gazetted in March 2019. Exposure to the highly toxic pesticide, classified as a persistent organic pollutant (POP) with long-term hazardous effects to human, animal health, and the environment, has been linked to cancer and neurological disorders. Section 44 of the Pesticides Act prohibits all importing, manufacturing, storing for sale, selling, or advertising of an unregistered pesticide, and anyone found doing so commits an offense and is liable to imprisonment for 2 years and to a fine of 5 million kwacha. The board may also suspend or cancel license as stipulated under Section 27 of the same Act. Despite this ban, Cloden is on the market and in use, especially in the construction industry. Importers and agro-dealers, refer to the Register of Pesticides for Use in Malawi for the list of registered, banned, and restricted pesticides. If you know anyone importing, manufacturing, storing for sale, selling, or advertising Cloden, report to the Pesticides Control Board on 0997 967 203, 0887 030 517, WhatsApp 0888 116 434, or send email to registrar@pesticidesboardmw.com. This message is brought to you by the Pesticides Control Board.
Nyama World.
the home of beef and goat products in Malawi. Quality goat selection bought from the smallholder farmers across the northern and central Malawi. Better pricing, better returns for the farmers. Products produced in the only export certified meat factory in Malawi. Traceability done from purchasing to selling. After slaughter, carcasses are kept in the chiller until the meat is mature. Then the meat is deboned, cut, packed, and distributed to the market. We religiously practice all international standards relating to hygiene, food production, distribution, and selling. Our distributors are spread across the country. Nyama World, quality first.
Welcome back. You're with me, Chancellor Zabanda. Another look at the headlines. Irish ambassador urges Malawians to be on high alert to combat COVID-19 in second wave. Blantyre City Council says most of its development activities are stuck due to COVID-19. Religious leaders asked to diversify income sources through entrepreneurship for economic independence. And in sports, government to cough over 7.8 billion kwacha to construct indoor netball complex in Lilongwe. Moving on with the news, a religious grouping called Zodiak Tv has advised religious leaders in the country to diversify sources of income by venturing to entrepreneurship for their economic independence. National coordinator for the organization, Reverend Christopher Kammasamba, says most pastors face financial challenges when they retire, hence their advice. Nonkubu reports.
Zodiak Tv Religious Network National Director Reverend Christopher Kammasamba says time is over for religious leaders to solely depend on offerings from members calling for diversity. He says many elderly pastors, widows, widowers and orphaned pastors' children suffer a lot once a minister retires or dies because usually they do not have an alternative source of income. Reverend Kammasamba was speaking when he led members of the religious network in Kasungu to a clean-up exercise around Kasungu District Hospital.
Zodiak Tv has one of the objectives to mediate between the poor and the rich. As you are aware that the gap that is there is so wide up. So Zodiak Tv has come to assure the poor Malawians, especially the religious leaders, that now time has come. Be assured that Zodiak Tv has come to direct you where we can get fertilizer, where we can get seeds, where we can get money for our small business. So Zodiak Tv is there to watch each and every microfinancing, whether bank, we are going to knock, receive us, ask us what we want. It's not only an if.
He says the network is working with Christians and Muslims to promote entrepreneurship skills to empower them economically. The cleanup exercise ended with a donation of pre-Christmas hampers to patients at Kasungu District Hospital and retired pastors and elderly persons at Kadzimete Village in Kasungu District. For Zodiac, this is Noah Nkubwi reporting.
Meanwhile, people from different denominations in Kasungu West constituency have conducted special Thanksgiving prayers to seek divine intervention on issues affecting the country as the year 2020 ends. No Nkugwe, once again.
The 2020 Interdenominational Thanksgiving Prayer Service in Kasungu West was held under the theme Reconciliatory Service. It brought together people from different denominations from the constituency and other areas. Among others, the clergy thanked God for the prevailing peace in the country after two contentious general and fresh elections. Father Terry Tesha, parish priest of St. Joseph Catholic Church, said many are the times that people rush to God when things fall apart. But he said very few people take time to thank him when they are successful. The man of God said the service was an opportune time to remind people, including politicians, that God is the foundation of their success and victory.
My key message is that we continue loving each other and caring for one another and forgiving one another so that the world may learn from us Christians how to live together in spite of our differences, that we can tolerate one another, we can care for one another, we can understand one another. Above all, the commandment is that we can love one another and love our enemies as we love ourselves.
Member of Parliament for Kasungu West, Giles Bonongwe, said such a service will be held annually to promote peace, love and unity among people of different religious and political affiliations in the area.
Everything we start with God. Without God, we can't go with a good leadership. That's why I decided to organize these prayers, to pray to God, to give us wisdom.
During the service, the clergy also prayed for rainfall, the fight against COVID-19, and the country's leadership. This is the second time that Kasungu West constituency has held such an interdenominational prayer service. For Zodiac, this is Noel Nkubwi, Kasungu.
Let's now move on to sports news. Government will cough over 7.8 billion kwacha to construct the multi-purpose indoor netball complex adjacent to Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe. Principal architect in government Arthur Chipiko revealed this during the project site handover ceremony to China Railway 20 Bureau Group, which is expected to construct the complex in 18 months. Bright Kanyama has filed this report.
The construction of a multi-purpose indoor sports complex is expected to commence on 4th January, immediately after civil servants' festive season holiday. Principal architect in government and project architect Arthur Chipiko told us in Lilongwe at Bingu National Stadium that the construction works will run for 1.5 years and that the agreement between government and the contractor, China Railway 20 Bureau Group Corporation, is that the facility will be ready in time before the commencement of the 2022 Regional 5 All Africa Games. Chipiko, however, disclosed at the construction site handover ceremony in Lilongwe that the project will need 7.8 billion kwacha to complete. He added that the indoor sports complex will have a 2,000-seater capacity, one netball court which can also be used as a basketball court, and 3 tennis courts. It will also host boxing bouts, among other sporting activities, which will be accommodated at the facility.
This complex is being built to support activities that will center around the Kamuzu for sports. Some of the activities will take place here. So this is one of the many projects that we're building towards the 2022 sports games. Evaluation process, we noted, we picked this contractor as the most responsive contractor. Hence, they are here to do the job.
Minister of Sports Ule Musungama announced plans to name the sports complex after the late Griffin Saenda, who died last month, in honor of his contributions to the game of netball in Malawi. For Zodiac, this is Bright Kanyama.
And still in sports, Super League of Malawi Solom says it has agreed with stakeholders that Super League games should continue without spectators following measures of COVID-19 announced by the Presidential Task Force on the pandemic on Tuesday. Solom President Somba Banda told us that this was agreed at a meeting held in Blantyre with the Football Association of Malawi and teams. We have this report.
We had a discussion with the clubs who are major stakeholders, and also we had a discussion with our mother body, the Football Association of Malawi, through the COVID Task Force team. And what we have agreed, all the parties, is that we should proceed with the match, playing with the matches, both for this weekend and the other week, the coming weekend. Basically, what we'll do is we are going to play the matches without spectators, and we are urging all the supporters who enjoy the game of football in Malawi to follow the proceedings of the games either through radio or TV.
How will you ensure that there are no interferences in terms of spectators coming to the stadia? Not only that, ensuring that those that will be in the stadia will be adhering to these measures.
This is a public order issue, and also it is a public health issue. So what we have done is we have engaged the Malawi Police Service to help us to ensure that there is order during that day, to ensure that all the cordon area around the stadium should not be trespassed, by people who are not supposed to be there.
There will be a fixture in the Blantyre Derby. In your discussions, did you by any chance also look into that matter, considering that this match attracts a lot of spectators?
Yeah, this the Blantyre Derby as one of the fixtures that is in between the 14 days was considered, and as any other fixture, it will proceed as in line with the COVID-19 measures and the regulations that have been set by government. So basically what we're saying is that we are going to enjoy this Blantyre Derby through radio or TV.
And that's what we had time for in this edition of the news. But before we go, another look at the headlines. Irish ambassador urges Malawians to be on high alert to combat COVID-19 in second wave. Blantyre City Council says most of its development activities are stuck due to COVID-19. Religious leaders asked to diversify income sources through entrepreneurship for economic independence. And in sports, government to off over 7.8 billion kwacha to construct indoor medical complex in Lilongwe. Log into our website, zodiacmalawi.com, for more news. My name is Chancellor Zabanda. On behalf of the team, is remember to seek medical help when you start experiencing symptoms of COVID-19. Goodbye.
Nyumba Ichene promotion. This festive season, get a sofa set, a trendy coffee table, and extendable TV unit from Zoe at only 499,000 Malawi kwacha. Umanso Zoe furniture ndi akatswiri popanga dining sets, beautiful